I'm going to explain to you how to pretty consistently beat the URA finale in the career mode of Uma Musume Pretty Derby. So this is going to vary based on the character, but it comes down to 3 types of characters. We have the sprinters like Haru Urara. We have Sakura Bakushin. They're both sprinters, for example. You can tell this by the distance that they have here, but you can also go to career info and you can literally look at the races that are coming up. Then you have the longer, people do long and medium like Super Creek. And then you also have the hybrids like Oguri Cap that have to do mile, medium, and long, or some variation of that. Maybe they'll do sprint, mile, and medium or something, you know. And so you have to build differently for each one to deal with this in order to get to the end. The game basically works like this. You have a stamina check for every character. Even when you go to the sprinters, you'll notice like the last race for the sprinter is a mile race, which stops you from skimping on stamina. So to beat the URA, it basically revolves around your stamina. It has to be a certain amount for each check in the career to get to the URA. And then once you get to the URA finale, you have to have generally the easiest way to beat it is by having a lot of speed with enough stamina to survive and then a lot of power. Alternatively, you can get a ton of speed with enough stamina and then all the rest into wit, because wit basically makes your other stats work more consistently. Like that's the effectively what it does, because it makes you waste stamina less and your character, I don't know how to explain it, but wit basically increases the consistent effectiveness of the other stats. Is what I've effectively seen from doing it over like 15 to 20 different careers using wit. In order to beat the URA finale, it really comes down to strategizing your build and the sparks that you choose and the support cards. So go to enhance and support cards. And I didn't mean to hit that one. I meant to hit level up the support cards. And so the big thing in your support cards, and this is what makes all the difference, is friendship bonus, mood effect, and specialty priority. You basically do not want a card unless it has specialty priority. I would say that's probably the number one most important thing, followed by friendship bonus and then mood effect. And the mood effect boost, if you're in great mood, it makes you get additional, and the friendship bonus makes so when they're friends with you, you get additional, which I'll explain in case you don't know more towards the end, though. And then after that, it's really like getting better support cards. Like the big thing in this game is scouting for support cards. That is the number one way to get everything better, make everything stronger, get more stats. And beating the URA finale is all about getting enough stats by the end for each of these characters. So then it comes down to the build. So let's say a sprinter like Sakura Bakushin. Select the legacy, and I think I had one in here. I think it was maybe this one. I can't remember. Yeah, here. I'd say one thing you always want with everybody is speed. So the easiest early game thing to do is try to build out sparks for speed. Now, if you don't know how spark building works, you can check out a video I already posted about sparks. Is on this channel somewhere. But you know, easy way is speed. But eventually, when you're an expert, you figure out whichever way you want to do. Getting affinity here makes you get more stats. Triangles, terrible. Circles, next best, and double circles, the best. And that's based on character compatibility. That's a whole video about that. I'm gonna kind of gloss over that in this video. But yeah, so let's say we got a bunch of speed here and some power. That's great. The other thing is you can use these, the pink ones, if they line up with what you want. So this one has a 3-star sprint, and I'm going to be doing mostly sprints on this, so that's great. So once I get the spark reward in early March of the first and second year, I'll hopefully get my sprint style up to S, which makes winning races easier if I'm doing a sprint. Same thing for style. If I had style pink sparks, then eventually by the end, I would have S for front, which is ideal for this character specifically. And then go in here and I'll pick this other one. And okay, so what you'll do now is the cards. So for a sprinter, you basically have 2 choices for a sprinter. They don't need stamina, so you can get by without a stamina card, but you always want speed. So the easiest way to beat the URA finale is, well, 2 different ways depending on the character. You can have 4 speed cards, so speed, or you can have 3 speed cards and 3 power, or 3 speed and 3 wit, or 4 speed and 2 wit, or you can even do 4 wit and 2 speed. I've done that one as well. It depends on if you're going for the wit and speed version or the power and speed version. Now, I do not recommend mixing and matching. Some people like to have 1 wit no matter what and be like this 3 speed, 2 power, 1 wit. I never really let that work for me, but some people swear by it, so that's up to you if you want to try it that way, because you get double energy returns on wit training when you have a friendship bonus with the wit card on the wit training. So you can try that route if you want. I personally don't like it. I always get unlucky with that. It doesn't work out for me. So, but yeah, so sprinters, the power will cover your stamina when you train it. And then speed, you want to get up to, like, by the end, over 1,000 if you can. And with enough cards like this, with specialty priority, you should be able to do that. Unless you get unlucky. If you get unlucky, you're unlucky. And there's nothing you can do about it. Like I had before where the last race, it says you're guaranteed first. I had, like, 1.5 times the total stats of everybody with 1,100 speed. I hit view results, and it was like, oh, you got 16th place. And I was like, oh, great, you know. And then you redo, and then you get first place on the next one. You're like, okay, all right. Like, that still happens. Anyway, so yeah, sprinters, it's speed, power, or speed, wit. And you can also kind of help make that determination by, if you might not know, there's details. You can see every character has some growth rate bonuses. So for Sakura Bakushin in particular, the speed wit build really works with her because she gets 20% bonus speed gains from training and 10% bonus wit gain from wit training. So that works out great if you want to do it on that character. Someone like Haru Urara gets a little bit more difficult because she has guts and power training, and you don't really want to be training guts. Like, you can, but it's definitely not ideal for winning the URA finale. Like, that's a really niche thing to play around with. Generally, you're just going to want speed, power, or speed, stamina, power, or wit. But either way, even with this, you would just ignore this, and then you would just go with the speed and the power, or speed and wit, and whichever way. And then for the sprint characters, you only need about 200 to 300 stamina to beat the URA finale. 300 is extra safe. 250 is probably safe, but if you really want to secure it, 300 stamina and then as much speed as you can get. Like in a perfect world, you'll end the run with 1,100 speed or more. You'll have 300 or more stamina, and you'll have like 500 or more power, maybe even 600-700 power. Or in a great world, you'll have 1,200 speed, 1,200 power, and you know, 400 stamina or something at the end. But that's really hard to do unless you have high-level support cards and really good spark. So, you know, a lot of you, that's not going to be an option. All right, so then now that you've learned all that stuff, it'll be a little bit faster just to explain some of the other stuff. So for a long one, so look at this character, Super Creep, for example. She's going to do medium and long races only, and pace is her best. If I want to get late, I could put some sparks on for late to get that up to A, which would be nice if I didn't have enough stamina for a stamina check. But you're watching this video for the URA finale, so you made it to the finale. You better just have enough stats by then, so you hopefully won't have to do that. So let me just pick whatever here, because the sparks already explained. It's like you're just going to want speed or power. And then for the pink ones, you're going to want pace, late, medium, or long, whatever you can get a hold of, or turf even. And then in here for the long races, you're still going to want 3 speed ideally, but then what you're going to want to do is you're going to want stamina instead of power for sure. Like, you absolutely have to get stamina for one of these. You can even go 3 stamina. Honestly, it's not a bad idea to go 3 stamina, 3 speed. But if you're trying to build for PvP, then you'll probably want to go with the 4 speed, 2 stamina and just try to get enough. And if you get a bad run, then you get a bad run. But if you're just trying to beat the URA finale, it's probably better to do 3 speed, 3 stamina. It's up to you. You could still do the speed. You could do the speed wit, but you'd have to have like at least 1 stamina no matter what to even get by, because for the long, what you're going to have to do, long, medium race characters, you're going to need to get through the stamina checks. I think by the end of the first year, you're going to need like 300 stamina at least, maybe 350. And then to beat the URA finale with a long distance runner, you're going to need like at least 500 stamina and maybe 600. Would be extra safe if you don't have to give up too much for it. So one way to get through the URA finale is to, with the speed and stamina build with the support cards, you'd want to end with like 1,000 speed, over 1,000, as much as you can get though, and you'll want your stamina to be like 500 or 600. That if you can hit that by the URA finale, you're golden. Okay, at that point, if you come up short, you still can be saved by skills, which skills is a whole other thing we can talk about in a second. But that's like the general gist of that one. And then the hybrid ones are the most annoying to do because it's really hard to get 2 card builds with them. I was going to throw whatever sparks on here. And so for them, it's just you want to clean it up. Like this character, I want to get long to A because I am going to have to do mile, medium, and long. But if you're only focused on the URA finale, then you're just going to focus on whatever their finale is, which you only can learn by playing the character. In this case, this character, I know it's mile at the end. All 3 of the finales are mile. So maybe I just focus on sparks that give me S tier mile and pace or something. So I S pace, S mile, and then as much speed as I can get based on whatever sparks I have available. So you got to work with whatever you got. And then in here, still at least 2 speed, if not 3 speed. The problem is, though, that these hybrid characters like Oguri Cap, I need, by the end of the first year, at the end of the first year, you have to do a long race with this character. So to secure that, you want like at least 250 stamina by the end of the first year, ideally 300. And then the finale, you don't have to be as forgiving because it's the mile. You just have to get enough to get through the 2 long races in the thing. So 300 can get you by if your speed and power are high enough. But getting 300 stamina, especially like 350 to 400 is extra safe to make sure you don't fail the second long race. But to get 400 stamina, you're probably going to want at least 1 stamina card. So you could do 2 wit, and you could do 1 power, 2 wit, 3 speed. I mean, these ones get really diverse. You could, one crazy option is you could get 2 power and 3 speed, 1 wit. You could get 3 power, 3 speed, or you get 2 power and 4 speed, because power will give you stamina, and if you grind it enough, then you'll get the stamina you need, especially if you train stamina in the beginning when your friendship levels up and stuff. So it gets complicated. These ones, there's a lot of options, and you can make all of them work if you get good enough luck. Like, you can really make any work. But to beat the finale, you'll just need like 300 to 400 stamina, ideally 800 plus power, over 1,000 ideally, and speed over 800 to 1,000, and then power as much as you can get, over 400 at least ideally. But if you can get like, 1,000 plus 600 power or whatever, that's great. That's what you want to do. And then beyond that, if you want to beat the finale, it's about getting to the end with the best case scenario that you can get. So some things are out of your control. You can have an unlucky run. I had a run where I got mood down 9 times and got a migraine twice, which lost me a total of like 12 turns or something. And it was basically impossible to win the finale. Like, that can happen to you. And if that happens, that's literally how the game works. Sometimes you just will not be able to do it sometimes unless you have... If you have super good, like, level 50 support cards, you should be able to get it almost every time. But if you're starting off and they're all level 30 and stuff, if you get bad luck, you are done. There's no way to beat the finale. So, unless you're really lucky. So, the beginning is extremely important. So, if you don't already know the basics, if there's friendship bonuses here, so you need to get this bar to fill, and you do it by training with these people. They're randomly assigned throughout this, and that specialty bonus makes them more likely to appear in the one that they are for, like speed to speed, power to power, whatever. So, what is really important here, like say for Oguri Cap, I need stamina, but I did not assign any stamina cards. I'm doing the risky build because I was trying to build for PvP, let's say, but I still want to get the finale done. So if I have options, but I don't right now, but like say I had 2 on speed and 2 on stamina, even though I want to build speed and I'm going to get a lot of stats for speed, that's my chance to get stamina. So you want early game, while building these friendships, this is your opening to fill in whatever stat you didn't have support cards for that you're going to need. Or to fill in a stat that you know you're going to struggle to get enough of without blocking out your ability to get 1,000 speed. So, like, yeah, if I can, in the early game with this character, I'll train stamina to get friendship bonuses whenever I have a choice between it and something else. Like, I have 2 on wit, 2 on speed. If it was 2 on stamina, I would do stamina right now. All right. The other thing is, if you don't know this, if you get your mood up to great, you get additional stats. So during the whole run, try to keep your mood at great as much as possible, because you'll literally just get more stats and it'll make the end make it easier to do. And then the last thing to mention is skills. So you get hints, obviously. You probably know already. They'll be randomly red exclamation marks when you train. So you do those whenever. You don't want to go totally out of your way to get the hints. You just do it whenever it makes sense. And then you'll get additional skills that you can buy with skill points. You get skill points from races. Well, the thing is, you can use skills to fill deficits. So a good example here is with Oguri Cap. She needs stamina, but I don't want to get a lot of stamina. I would love to have no stamina, but you have to get it to get through the career, to get to the finale. So she has Gourmand, she has Hydrate, and these are for Pace Chaser, which is one of the main things that she's going to run. She's A in Pace Chaser. So you're just going to run Pace Chaser the whole game, then if you're this character. And as soon as you get these skill points, you're going to buy Hydrate and Gourmand, so that way you don't need as much stamina, because they'll recover some endurance mid-race. The other thing with skills is they're only going to apply to whatever race. So an acceleration, this is only for mile races. So for me, if winning the finale, acceleration would be great to get, because they're all mile for this character. But if I had a skill that was long, and maybe I need that for a race, but it's not for the finale, then consider not buying it unless you need it. And then sometimes with green ones, they're get out of jail free cards. I've had before where I get to the finale and I'll have one like Cloudy Day and I'll have enough to buy it, or I could buy like acceleration. And I'm like, well, what I could do is, I can't do it right now, but you can go to the race and hit race, and before you actually commit to it, it'll show you what the weather is. And I've literally won finales before by being like checking that and being like, oh, the finale's cloudy weather. And then I just buy 2 points of Cloudy Days with my last skill points. And then I get, like, it's effectively, like, I don't know what the math is, 5, 10, 15% more stats or something with one of these, moderate, something like that. So it just gives you that edge. So you can do things like that to help get you over that finish line. And that's about everything, guys. So I think that pretty much covers it all. You can also go to your friends tab back on the main menu in order to get different support cards. You can go to team trials and look through the leaderboards in order to find other, that 6th card you can find. You can also, do more Spark training with stuff like that. But that's my Spark video. I don't want to turn this video into a 25-minute video trying to explain the Spark system more. But there's little things you can do here and there as well. But that's the main things you'll have to do. Like, I'm at the point now, if my goal is to beat the finale, I can do that without having to use an alarm clock, like 75 to 90% of the time, depending on which way I'm trying to build. But you may still have to use alarm clocks. So you keep your alarm clocks as much as possible. Use them sparingly, because sometimes there's nothing you can do. Sometimes you need to have one, because if your stats are high enough, you'll probably win no matter what. Even then, there's a chance the game's stupid. But there's times where it's like, you're good on the finale, and then you race it, and it'll just be like, oh, you came in last. And you're like, what the heck? And use an alarm clock to came in first. Like, and you're, okay, that's what I should have gotten. But the game just sometimes will just make you lose anyway. Like, I mean, there's a percentage chance, right? Like 1% chance you lose. Well, you can roll that 1%, even though you're a shoe-in to win. So, but yeah, that's everything. I hope that helped you guys out. Hopefully now you have a better idea of how to beat the URA finale race, finale finals in Uma Musume Pretty Derby.